Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Say Report. And we would like to also say happy Brendan Fraser Month, everybody. We told you it was coming, and here it is. 1 month of remembrance of one of the greatest American actors of all time.
Happy Brendan Fraser History Month, everybody! But
Woo! I
before
wish
we
I had jingle bells to ring here.
but before we get to that, you know what? I know we just talked about it for 30-ish minutes, but I have one more Coyote Ugly thing to bring up if I may have the
Of course
floor.
you do. Okay, sure. Here we go.
All right, well,
Devon Decker, everybody, by the way. Devon Decker, Sejohn Sarowick here at the Say Report. Brendan Fraser is here in spirit. What do you have to say about the Coyote Ugly, Devon?
You know what I have to say about Coyote Ugly? Coyote Ugly, directed by David McNally, not a prominent film director. He only has one other film under his belt, and that film is Kangaroo Jack, another secret favorite of Devon Decker's.
Well,
So
then
this
why would you
guy-
ever need to direct anything else? He's done
Exactly.
it.
This
Coyote
guy
Ugly, Kangaroo
directed
Jack.
two movies that I absolutely friggin' love. Coyote Ugly and Kangaroo Jack. So thank you, Dave McNally. Also, it was only $46 for 8 shots and 6 beers at Coyote Ugly. How are they making money? How are they making money? But that's right. It is Brendan Fraser History Month here at the Say Report, and hopefully in all of your hearts. So I'm excited about it being Brendan Fraser History Month. Do you know why I'm excited, Sejohn?
Why are you excited about it being Brendan Fraser? I mean, I know why I'm excited, but why are you excited?
I'm excited because we finally get to pull something from your old podcast, Super Kenshi Mobile Love Bus Cyber Squad Away.
Oh man, okay,
And
we're
that
going
is,
back.
we're going to have
All
a
right.
quiz.
Oh shit!
And
Oh,
not
no. Wait a
just
minute.
any quiz,
Wait a minute.
Sejohn.
Wait. Anybody that doesn't, okay. Anybody that never listened to that show needs to understand that quizzes were the bane of my existence on that show. So I'm not excited about this all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah. And just to, add a little bit more sprinkle to the shit sundae I'm about to serve you,
I believe it's insult to injury would be the phrase I'd use, but sure.
I'm trying to make it colorful for the listeners, CG. On the very last episode of Super Kenshi,
Okay.
you told the story about receiving an unmarked envelope with just your name and address on it. And
I did. I
inside
remember
that
this
envelope was a quiz prepared by
Yeah.
none other than Devon Decker.
I do. Okay, right.
And
Okay,
that
I'm with you
quiz
so far.
was in honor of Brendan Fraser History Month.
Oh no.
And you did not do super great on that quiz.
I didn't do super great on any of those quizzes. That was the problem.
So what we're offering you, and what I wish Hollywood would offer Mr. Brendan Fraser, is redemption. As I
Okay.
give you a second time the Brendan Fraser History Month quiz.
Nobody at home can tell how unhappy I am at this moment.
I think they can. It's called Tomber, buddy. All right, so what we
What do we
have
got?
here, we have 10 questions. They are multiple choice because I'm not a total sadist. And here we go, buddy. Question numero uno. Which Goonie appeared alongside Brendan Fraser in Encino Man? Is it A, Corey Feldman, B, Josh Brolin, C, Sean Astin, or D, Martha Plimpton?
Oh shit. Wait. I know that Brendan Fraser and Pauly Shore were in it. I don't remember who the other friend was. Oh no. Well, I'm gonna go with Corey Feldman because who can go wrong with Corey Feldman?
I'm sorry, Corey Feldman is incorrect. The
Apparently
correct answer
apparently
is
I can go
Sean
wrong with Corey
Astin,
Feldman.
Rudy himself.
Oh, damn it.
Question number 2. Though most children of the 90s fondly recall his appearance in Encino Man, Brendan Fraser's first starring role was in which drama released that same year? Is it A, Awakenings, B, Moscow on the Hudson, C, The Dead Poets Society, or D, School Ties?
Oh no, I was gonna say it's the one about schools and ties, but now I don't know if that's. Oh no.
All of those ones are about schools and ties, buddy. It's as if the
Oh,
person
God.
who created the quiz knew exactly how you'd think it through.
Oh shit! I remember him being small and in a school uniform, and that's all I remember. Well, I don't think it's Moscow on the Hudson. I don't think it's the. What was the first one you said?
Awakenings?
Oh no, I'm not going to go for Awakenings either. I think it's Dead Poets or
School Ties.
School Ties. And here's the thing. I actually don't like School Ties as a movie. So just because of that, I'm going to say Dead Poets.
You know what? The answer is School Ties, but I really wish that I had employed that same thought process when I was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, because I do not like Born on the 4th of July as a movie, and yet I still answered it when asked in which of these films was Tom Cruise a former Army Ranger.
Yeah, people should look that up, too. People should look that up.
Oh, my God. Find that episode. If you can find the episode of Me on Millionaire, season 14, episode 127, I think, I would kiss you because I don't have a copy of it, and I'd like to see myself. All right, so just for the record, the answer again for number 2 is School Ties, and Sejohn is 0 for 2. Moving right along to number 3, what was the name of his band in the 1994 comedy Airheads? Is it A, the Lone Rangers, B, the Zorros, C, the Tontos, or D, Airheads?
It's the Lone Rangers.
It is the Lone Rangers, and
this is going to be the only one. This is going to be the only one I get right.
Has repeated itself here on the Say Report tonight, because again, the first question that Sejohn got right was the name of his band in 94's Airheads with Adam Sandler, Steve Buscemi, Michael McKean, and Michael Richardson before he showed us he's a racist.
That's like the first movie that I remember from my youth of being like, I love people in this movie. Let me look up who it is. And then Brendan Fraser, Adam Sandler, like all that shit. Anyway, I'm not going to justify this. I like Airheads.
You should like Airheads. If it's still on Netflix, ladies and gentlemen, after you listen to this, go watch Airheads because it's pretty enjoyable.
It's a pretty brilliant film for like the stupidity that it actually is.
All right. Are you ready for question number 4, Sejohn?
No, but let's go. Let's do
this. Question 4. In which of these Pauly Shore... that was some Rhode Island. In which of these Pauly Shore films does good old Brenny Fraser have an uncredited cameo? Is it A, Son-in-Law, B, Biodome, C, Jury Duty, or D, Pauly Shore is Dead?
Well, everybody's in Pauly Shore is Dead, right?
That it might be the reason why it's on this as an answer. Could it be a misdirect, or could it be the correct answer? That's for you to decide.
No, this is a quiz about Brendan Fraser. It's not that smart. I'm saying Pauly Shore is dead.
Okay, it's Son-in-Law. He appears as his character Link from Encino Man at a party. Him and Pauly Shore's character share a look like, do we know each other? And then he just keeps walking. I miss the 90s because that's the kind of shit that would happen in movies. And we were all okay with it.
Oh, my God.
And speaking of the king of the cameo, in which of these films does Brendan Fraser not appear uncredited? Okay. So he's credited in one of these films. Can you tell me what it is? Is it A, Now and Then, B, Glory Days, C, G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra, or D, Kids in the Hall, Brain Candy?
So he shows up in all of those.
He's in all of those movies, but only in one of them is he get a credit for his appearance.
Oh, shit. Fuck, I've seen him in all of those, too.
Again, most of these movies we've seen together.
I'm going to say G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, because really it's the only one where I think they'd go out of their way to give him credit, I guess. The other ones are all too, like, I don't know. G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra.
The correct answer is B, Glory Days.
Damn.
Reuniting with Ben Affleck after they both appeared in School Ties.
Right.
For those at home, we have hit the halfway mark of Brendan Fraser History Month quiz. Let us move along to number 6. Sejohn still 1 for 5. Alrighty.
Yep.
Little known fact, 1997's Bedazzled, starring Elizabeth Hurley and our boy Brendan Fraser, is a remake of a 1967 film of the same name. That film starred which actor? Is it A, Roger Moore?
No, what is his name?
James... Sorry. Is it A, Roger Moore, B, James Caan, C, Dudley Moore, or D, George Burns?
Dudley Moore. It's Dudley Moore.
It is Dudley Moore, and again, history repeats itself. Loving this. I'm loving every moment of this.
God damn it. I am begrudgingly loving every moment of this.
Good. Alrighty. In which of these classic cartoons, big screen adaptations, did Brendan Fraser not appear? Is it A, The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, B, Dudley Do-Right, C, George of the Jungle, or D, Looney Tunes?
No, it's the very first one. It's Rocky and Bullwinkle.
That is correct. Nice job, Sejohn. 3 for 7. I think you might be turning it around here, buddy. Let's go. Which actor portrays the reanimated cadaver when Brendan Fraser's character eventually possesses a deceased person?
It's Chris Kattan. I don't even need the...
What's the movie, Sejohn?
It's Monkey Bone.
It's Monkey Bone. The answers, just for those at home, are Jimmy Fallon, Fred Armisen, Horatio Sands, and, as Sejohn already said, Chris Kattan.
Horatio Sands would have been a phenomenal choice, but no, it's Chris Kattan.
That
and
one
I'm
is a
pretty
little
sure
bit of
that if you go back
revisionism.
and listen, I'm pretty sure that if you go back and listen, this was also one that I knew almost immediately before he needed to give me the answers.
That is
because
correct.
here's a secret about me: I fucking love Monkey Bone.
That's why it's Brendan Fraser History Month, buddy, because each one of us loves a Brendan Fraser movie unconditionally and irrationally. Yours is Monkey Bone. Question number 9. Not content with only breaking hearts on the big screen, Brendan Fraser plays which Scrubs character's brother? Is it A, Sarah Chalk's Elliot, B, Ken Jenkins, Dr. Kelso, C, John C. McGinley's Dr. Cox, or D, Krista Miller's Jordan?
It's Sarah Chalk's brother, right?
You know what the best part is? History repeats itself again, ladies and gentlemen. Except Krista Miller's Jordan is the correct answer.
Oh, God damn it.
So at this time, you are currently 4 for 9. There is one question left. Let's see if you can get an F, buddy. Can you get 50% on this quiz? I believe in you.
Okay.
Number 10. Finally, which 2014 animated feature features Brendan Fraser? Is it A, The Nut Job, B, The Box Trolls, C, Escape from Planet Earth, or D, The Lego Movie?
Oh, it's got to be Escape from Planet Earth because that's the only one that I don't know in and out.
All right, so you're wrong.
God damn it.
He
Nut
is
Job.
in Escape from Planet Earth, but a little trickery on my part. That came out in 2013. He is in The Nut Job. He plays the silver squirrel whose name I cannot remember right now.
Ugh,
He gets hit in the head and loses his memory.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yes, now I remember. The Nut Job is one of those movies that I watched once and thought, I don't have to see that again. And then they said, we need to make a sequel. And then I thought, I need to see that.
Yeah, I'm seeing the sequel to The Nut Job, and ironically, Brendan Fraser, the only part not coming back from the first.
Surprise, surprise.
So,
Man.
Sejohn,
How did I do?
Well, you got 4 out of 10 correct.
Do you happen to know my stats from last time, or do we have to depend on a listener to maybe go back and
Fairly
find that out?
certain. I mean, if a listener wants to go back and confirm this for me, but I'm fairly certain a year ago you knew that he was in The Nut Job.
God, that might. So I've done worse. Is what
Yes,
you mean.
you've underperformed against yourself. If it were Mario Kart, your ghost just beat you.
Awesome, fantastic. Ugh, I have let Brendan Fraser down. All right.
But you know who you haven't let down? Me or the fans. Happy Brendan Fraser History Month, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, man.
This is going to be our Brendan Fraser, homage for this episode. We'll be moving on to other things, but trust me, every episode this month, we're going to be talking about our boy Brendan Fraser because
Excellent.
it is Brendan Fraser History Month. And we love you, big guy. All the way from School Ties to, dear God, is The Nut Job his last movie? Has he been in anything
No.
after The Nut Job?
I honestly couldn't tell you, man. I mean, we can't forget that he's done things like Crash and Gods and Monsters. So the dude's earned a nut job.
Inkheart, I'll give him Inkheart. Mummy, The Mummy Returns.
I forgot about Inkheart, honestly, and that's actually a shame because that's actually a really, really good YA novel adaptation film.
Yeah, he's in the first Journey to the Center of the Earth.
That's
and then he
right.
gets replaced by The Rock, which is ironic when you consider that The Rock is the Scorpion King. Is it ironic? Coincidental? God damn you, Alanis Morissette. You've ruined my definition of that word. So, Sejohn, how are you, buddy?
I was doing great. No, I still am doing great. No, my semester is officially over. I have to give a final, but that's the easiest part as far as I'm concerned. Because essentially, for me, all you got to do is show up and show me that you've actually paid attention for the last 16 weeks, and you're good to go.
For bonus credit, you might want to give these people the Brendan Fraser quiz.
If anybody could tell me at what point he's listed in the Nut Job cast, you get an extra 3 points. There you go.
Brilliant, brilliant. That's good, right? I'm very happy to hear that your semester is over. That means that we can start to plan some fun adventures.
Yeah, my hope is to get some adventuring in. It's been a long time since I've been able to do some good solid adventuring. But no, but like I like road trips. I like getting out and like getting away from the house and kind of like not being sure where we're going, which is something that like we used to do a lot when we were younger, and like you just don't get the chance to do once you grow up, right? Like at some point you have to start making plans, and that's stupid.
Well, can I be completely honest with you? Distance is one of the only reasons why you and I still don't do that.
That's true.
Right? Like I think
That's
if we lived close together, this last Sunday I had nothing planned, and if you had nothing planned, I think instead of my sister by my side going on the crazy road trip that I went on this Saturday, it would have been Devon and Sejohn go all over again.
How did you guys do it? What'd you guys do?
We actually really let fate decide where and when we would go.
Excellent. Yeah, here you go. Get in the car and drive.
Okay, so here's the thing. We wanted to try out the Zinger sandwich from KFC.
Okay.
So we went to the KFC.
An easy goal, but how did you complicate it?
They didn't have any ready, and they would not have them ready for 20 minutes.
Oh,
so
well, fuck that. Let's go on an adventure.
We calculated the nearest KFC within 20 minutes to see if we could drive there. We could not. We could not make it in 20 minutes. So we wound up at a game store in Norwich, Connecticut, because that was about the 20-minute mark. And that was fun. That was a good time. And there was a KFC next door. Not a KFC. If there were a KFC, it wouldn't be a problem. There was a Popeye's Chicken across the street.
Then it still wasn't a problem.
Right. But in Norwich, Connecticut, there is a sandwich shop called Philly's. And my family regularly goes to Philadelphia just to get a cheesesteak. So we're like, hey, let's try this place, right? Like, this might be fun. So we go to Philly's, and I go in, and I order like I'm in Philadelphia. I go up to the guy at the counter, and I go, give me 2 whiz without, which is 2 sandwiches, cheese whiz as the cheese, no onions. I get the most vacant stare I have ever received from a human being in my entire life.
Probably confused the shit out of that person.
He looked at me like I was speaking another language, and like, I don't know, too fast, too slow. It was crazy.
You expect too much of people. That's what it is. You expected way too much of that.
The place is called Philly's, a taste of Philadelphia. There's a huge banner.
Did you say you were in Connecticut? Where were you?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. That's all you needed to know.
So then I reorder the sandwich. All right, so I want 2 of the Philadelphia cheesesteaks with cheese whiz, no onion. And again, vacant stare. Because apparently they don't call them Philly. They have a name for it on the menu. But, like, this place is apparently known for their cheesesteaks. There's a sign outside voted #1 sandwich in the country by Travel Channel. So I'm expecting a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And I have made it explicitly clear that we do not want onions on these sandwiches. So I say it one more time, and he goes, all right. So I pay for them. Sandwiches come out. There's onions on them. But we left, right? Because we didn't want to eat in there. We wanted to eat in the car like we do in Philadelphia. Very rarely do you buy a sandwich and then eat it in the place.
Okay, right.
And also, this place, I mean, I don't want to be mean on it. Like, I admit that I need to give it another shot. I will 100% admit that I will give Philly's another shot. But after that whole vacant stare thing, I look up and they have have you ever been to Philadelphia? You have. You went to the Pizza Club.
Yes, I have. I've been to Philly. I thoroughly enjoy Philly. And one of the things that I love about Philly is the way that they give you so much shit when you order these sandwiches, which it sounds like they didn't do that either.
Nope. But they do have a counter that says standing room only so that you can recreate the Philly lean, right? The way that people eat them. And above it is a sign that says cheesesteak professionals only. And
so
I'm like, so me, right? Because I just walked into your business and ordered like I've been ordering cheesesteaks since I was 16 years old and got nothing from you. this place is not for me. This is for someone in
Mhm.
Connecticut who is never going to leave Connecticut, but it wants to try the cuisine of other states, other lands.
Distant foreign lands. Oh man.
So we go outside. There's onions on them. We took a couple of bites. The onions were too strong. I mean, the onion on a Philly cheesesteak, it enhances it. The way that the onions on like a hot weenie enhances it, like
Right.
it gives it a sweetness and a bite. These
Right.
onions were not the sweet type of onions that you usually get when you get a Philly cheesesteak in Philadelphia. They were kind of like the greasy spoon type onions. Like
Quick,
they were
made
basic.
too quick is honestly what it is.
Yeah.
Like, because the thing that gives them that sweet, but then like good bite afterwards is the fact that they've been sitting on there for too long, and so they basically caramelized on the grill. And then like what you got were onions that just weren't that.
Yeah, they were sandwich shop onions. We have onions
Right.
for sandwiches at our sandwich shop,
Right.
and these are them.
Mm.
So we wrapped them up, and they're like, so where do we go now? Well, I want to go to this Target that I went to the last time a Mario Kart released.
Oh.
So we drove from this Philadelphia shop all back roads to the Crystal Mall Target. And then after that, after the adventure at the Crystal Mall,
That's amazing that you went to the Crystal Mall, by the way, because that like if you're in the Northeast, you should make a trip to the Crystal Mall because that was like a weird like mecca for us all through college. Like I don't know what it was about that place. I think there was like a is there a Sonic nearby or something like that? Like there was something near the Crystal Mall or in the Crystal Mall
I'm
that
fairly
like
certain it was a Dairy Queen that you
maybe
we were
that's
going
what it
to
is.
when
Yeah,
we were in
because
college.
weirdly there's no Dairy Queens in any of Rhode Island, right? You have to like leave the state if you want to get a Dairy Queen, which
And
isn't
that
hard.
is because Newport Creamery is like, yeah, you're coming in here, you Dairy Queen.
Which,
Let me make you
I would fuck a
have an
Newport Creamery, I'm
awful
just saying.
time.
Yeah. Rhode Island things. Okay. Nobody outside of Rhode Island gets the awful comment, but I'm there, man.
It was just for you. Holy cow. Anywho, so yeah, so Crystal Mall is like one of those meccas, and it was literally so like when did Mario Kart 8 release the first time? 2013, I want to say, maybe 2012.
It was definitely a few years ago, at least 2, if not 3 or 4. So yeah, it's been some years.
All I know is that I saw Doug Benson for the first time at the FET Ballroom the
Then
same day that it came out.
Ago, right?
Yeah, so it has to be probably 4 years ago. Anywho, so I'm like, let's go to this Target, right? And it'll be fun. And then there's Crystal Mall. I almost bought a Power Glove. They had a Power Glove for sale at a GameStop not GameStop. They don't sell cool things. It was $120, and I'm like, do I really need a Power Glove? The answer is no. No one needs a Power Glove.
All right, fine.
All right, well, if it's still there next time I go, I'll pick it up.
I want to be the wizard. All right, keep going.
The wizard didn't have it. Lucas had it.
All right.
It's so bad. So then we're sitting there, right? We're at the Crystal Mall. We're about to leave. And I say to Dale, flip a coin. Heads, we head for home, north. Tails, we go together into the unknown. Flips a coin, tails. So we venture south, deeper into Connecticut.
Oh no! I'm surprised you ever got home.
Right? Like, that's the thing. So then we find, like, what this really became is we searched for, like, just old, like, used game stores. And we found one off of, like, Exit 54 in Connecticut. And next door to it was a Smoothie King. I had never been to a Smoothie King. Have you ever been to a Smoothie King?
Weirdly, I have on a band trip when I was a young child, and guess where we were? Hartford, Connecticut.
Wow. Look at that. Congruence. So I say to Dale, she's paying.
We went
she's
to the
gonna.
same one.
Oh, I doubt it because we weren't in Hartford.
We
were.
didn't. That didn't happen.
But they have a 40-ounce large. It's so ridiculous. It's
That's
like
nuts, man.
Any healthiness of this smoothie I'm about to drink is being negated by the sheer size of that beverage.
Also, it's a Smoothie King. Guess what the base is for all of their drinks? Yogurt, which can be healthy in small doses, but not once you get to 40 ounces.
No, not at all. So the game store. Oh, I should point out that I got a copy of Kirby Pinball Land for the regular Game Boy. Very excited about that.
Was Kirby Pinball one of the first ones to have the tilt function in it, or was that?
Oh no, it's not the tilt one. It's the first one that came out.
Okay, because there was a tilt. There was like a Kirby tilt game eventually.
Yeah, that was one of the first ones that had tilt functionality. You're not wrong, Mr. Sejohn. I'm sorry, that came out
No.
weird. Uh,
Thanks.
but so
Thanks,
so then
Devon.
we go into the Smoothie King after this game shop, and Dale is paying. So I'm like, she's like, what size should we get? And I'm like, I don't know, Dale. We go big or we go home. So like it was another like slant to the universe. Like if she orders a very big size, then we will continue on our adventure. Otherwise, we'll just head for home.
Go big or go home.
She got 240 ounces.
Well, that's big,
So we
motherfucker.
ventured deeper into Connecticut.
That's so good.
And at this point, I'm like, but you know what? Let's cut back towards home when we can. So we get on 91, right? Figure we'll head into Springfield, Massachusetts, Mass Pike. We can get home that way, right? We've done a
Okay.
nice big circle of 3 states in New England. I'm running out
Mass
of
Pike
gas.
90? Is that Mass Pike?
Mass Pike is 90s, but we took
Yeah.
91 over to 90,
Nice. Excellent. Okay.
which is great. I love it.
You're back on my route home is what it is. Once you're up on 90, that's how I
That's how you head home from where you are. So this is. I don't know if anyone's enjoying this. I'm having fun telling the story, so I hope you're enjoying what I did on my summer vacation 2.0.
Well, no, here's the best part is somebody can actually go because you've given us enough information, can actually plot your route out. And I want to see somebody plot out your route here.
That'd be fantastic. Share it on the Facebook page.
There you go.
So then we take 91 until I'm out of gas. Like I'm running out of gas. And I'm like, Dale, you need to find a Cumberland Farms because I signed up for the Smart Pay. You save 10 cents a gallon. It's a good deal. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
So she just
I
calculates.
missed the part where you became an 80-year-old man, but yeah, okay, let's
That was the bit. So she's like, oh, you got to take this exit. So I take the exit, follow down through like Old Town. Like, you know when you're driving in Massachusetts, like Western Massachusetts, everything kind of looks the same. Like Old Town USA.
Yeah.
Like
Every
brick
house
storefronts.
has
Yeah.
every house has windows to the north and like walls to the south so that they could actually catch the heat in the day and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
then like
It's
yeah.
ridiculous. And then you're like, this is crazy. So we're driving, finally get to the Cumberland Farms. And what is across from the Cumberland Farms but a video game store? Like, I'm not even kidding. This one just happened naturally. Like, we were trying to get gas. The name of this game store, this is the one that I'm going to name. I'm going to name check this place, is Video Game Hunter.
Okay.
Game twice.
Excellent. Video game hunter.
Like Craven the Hunter is not hunting Spider-Mans. He's hunting video games.
Like it's like they used to be called a game hunter and people used to come in being like, you got any guns so I can go hunt wildlife? And they were like, no, video game hunter. Video game game hunter.
So we go in there. That place was crazy. You know how like old... You know what? I don't know how to describe it. Like in movies when they go to like an antique shop and it's just piled up with stuff everywhere and there's a very thin aisle that you can walk through.
Yeah.
Imagine that, but all video games.
That's amazing.
Ranging from Odyssey, Magnavox Odyssey age, all the way up to PS4.
The trick is if you can find a place that's hard to navigate, but the people there are super nice. If you can find that combination, you have found like that's the fountain of youth. Like that is the gold standard for me. Because like there's a comic place out here that's like that, but the dude inside is the biggest dick in the universe. So like you can't navigate around the store and then you run into him and it's honestly like trying to get through a fucking Dungeons and Dragons
It's
dungeon.
like the Labyrinth. He's the Minotaur.
Yeah. You come up against him and you're just like, I just want to get out of your store now. And he's just like, not until you answer me these questions. And you're just like, oh God. It's the worst.
Spider-Woman 3. Maddie Franklin.
Name
Yeah.
everything wrong with AMC's Preacher now. It's like I can't. I like it. All right,
I don't
anyway.
have the time.
I don't have the time.
Yeah, we went both ways with it.
I love Seth Rogen, but he's a dick. All right.
This place was close to that because they just left you alone, which I'm okay with. Like, super kind would be another thing, but like back of the store, bunch of young kids all playing video games, like real cool. Like
Nice.
chill atmosphere. But you know, like the glass cases you sometimes see at these game shops up at the front, and it's like neatly put together. They had a Game Boy Advance one that was literally just piles of Game Boy Advance games. You have no idea what's on the bottom. You know what's on the top. It was super cool. And I ended up getting like some old NES games that like I just needed for my collection. Real good place. Check out Video Game Hunter. It's like outside of Springfield, Massachusetts, because I could see the Basketball Hall of Fame. And then from there, it became very uneventful. We just got on the Mass Pike and drove home. But then, like it was a fun day. Oh, we finally got our Zinger sandwiches at the new KFC Taco Bell in Smithfield, Rhode Island. That, honest to God, has a fucking water feature.
Well, they're classy like that. So
Dude, you're sitting there in the drive-thru and you're like, damn, that's fucking nice.
Oh man, that's great though. See, and like that's the kind of crap that like you can't get into at some point in your life. Like, so you do that stuff whenever you can. Like, hop in the car, have a crazy adventure, roll the dice, and literally see where you're gonna go from there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man, I dream of that right now. I mean, the problem is like, I have so much school stuff going on, and then like getting stuff together for the show, and like doing my own like kind of work on the side. Sometimes I forget that I'm allowed to have fun sometimes, right?
Well, CJ, buddy, let's remind you that you can have fun.
Well, and so that kind of brings me around to my venturing that I've been doing, but it's all been in the digital space. I've been trying to find something that I can actually kind of like focus on, and spoiler alert, I have found something, so that's what the end of the story is.
Oh, good.
But I've been trying to find something that I can focus on for just kind of myself to just kind of like get into again, right? Like, it's been a really long time since I've had a show that I can get deep into. I watched the Arrowverse stuff, and the thing is that I'm currently rewatching that with some friends of mine. So like I'm kind of a couple of seasons back, so I can't keep up on what's going now. So I kind of have to ignore the stuff that's online. So like I can't get into the zeitgeist of it like I could 4 years ago. And like before that, I had like Angel and Buffy, and I had Shield, and I had Doctor Who. So I've always had something in my life that I could get deep into, and I couldn't find what that next thing was. And I think I mentioned it was last week that we had the big talk about Stephen King, right?
Yes.
So I've been kind of trying to find something that I can kind of get deep into television-wise, lore-wise, but also kind of has that weird feel to it. And one of the things last year that caught my attention, the problem being that it was only a miniseries, was Over the Garden Wall. Do you know anything about it, Devon?
I know that I really wanted to watch it, but I mean, those things are totally scheduled for children. Like it's destination viewing for children.
Yeah, and weirdly on Cartoon Network for children. Although I'll talk in a second about how I don't actually think it was a children's show. But yeah, yes, you're not wrong. It was geared timing wise for sure, marketing wise for sure towards a younger audience.
Which, if I may just interrupt briefly, that is totally where marketing for kids has gone.
Oh yeah,
like because Nickelodeon is like, see a new episode this week every day at 7, and I'm like, I wish when I was a kid I got that.
Yeah, like the closest that we got to that was maybe like Dragon Ball Z. We were guaranteed an episode every day at a specific time, right?
Right.
But that
exactly.
was because that was aping on the way that it was being sold over in Asia. So I mean, like, it's not like it was like different. It wasn't ingenuity on the part of American marketers.
I don't know if it was here or it was just a conversation I had, but I have seen the Suck-O-Matic episode of Rocko's Modern Life so many fucking times because that's all they had for so long. And whenever Rocko was on, let's just put on the Suck-O-Matic episode.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see more Rocko, so I'd go and I'd watch, and I'd be like, I've seen this one. I'm going to watch it.
So that's what it is like I was looking for something kind of in that wheelhouse, kind of Adventure Time-ish, where like there's a lore to this for you to really dig into, but at the same time, the episodes themselves are simplistic enough that you can just shut your brain off and watch, right? And like, so trying to find that balance. And a year ago, I had found Over the Garden Wall, and it blew me away, Devon. Like, I cannot recommend Over the Garden Wall to anybody enough. And it's a 10-episode miniseries created by one of actually the creative leads from American. What am I saying? From Adventure Time. I don't know where I was going with American
Dad.
No, I was just talking about America because I love America.
America.
From America. No, from Adventure Time. It's one of the creative leads from there. Kind of broke off and did his own thing, and it's this gloriously dark little miniseries, but the whole concept of it is that every episode is very much an homage to a very different type of animator. There's very clearly a Miyazaki episode. There's very clearly a Max Fleischer episode or two. There's just a bunch of good old timey animation references and things like that in the way that every episode is built. So like that added to the fact that the lore of the whole thing is just this phenomenally dark story about these two boys getting lost on the night of Halloween, and they get lost in this fantasy world, and I don't want to give too much away because I do want people to like watch it and see where it goes, but like the way that it kind of intersperses their understanding of the world that they're now in versus where they want to go, because the whole point of the series is about them trying to get home, and it all takes place on one night with them trying to get home, is like it's mind-blowing how well it comes together in such a simple way. Because again, it was meant for Cartoon Network. It wasn't Adult Swim. It wasn't anything like that. It was meant for Cartoon Network. So it was meant for a younger audience. And so that was amazing, but that was only 10 episodes. And anybody that has access to it should go and check that out immediately.
Where
because
can I
it's
check
phenomenal.
this out? Because after hearing, I really wanted to see it, and now this rave review.
For a long time, it was actually just straight up on Cartoon Network. If anybody has access to the Cartoon Network app on like a Fire Stick or anything like that, then you have access to it. I would even check out Cartoon Network Online. They do a really good streaming service that, as long as you have any type of cable service, so Devon, this might work for you, you can just put in your cable service provider and they just give you the episodes for free. And they've actually got access to a ton of different stuff on there. But Over the Garden Wall in its entirety was up the last time that I checked. So like anybody that has any type of cable service pretty much already has access to it. And if you don't, it's pretty easy to find around, including the DVD for it I just bought the other day for like $10. I actually purchased the DVD within the last like month for $10. It's a gloriously good time. And so I've been trying to find something in that wheelhouse, a little dark, a little deep, but also the episodes themselves are just surface enough that I don't have to like invest myself immensely emotionally, right? And so I've discovered a little something, and that's Disney XD.
Devin, I love Disney XD.
Yeah, I was going to say,
please tell me more.
Conversation, right?
No.
Disney XD. So, my girlfriends lovingly refer to it as Boy Disney. That's what they call it. They look at it as Disney with a skew towards a more masculine audience, and that's not to say that the material on it is like a bunch of like boys are awesome, girls are dumb, and I'll get into that in a second. It's more that they understand that the way to market to 11-year-old boys right now in the world is different than it is to market to 11-year-old girls. So they do a lot more action-oriented stuff on Disney XD, and things like that. But what they do is they do this really interesting move on a lot of their shows to make sure that they're very inclusive in terms of diversity. So they're like marketing towards boys, but then what they're doing is actually kind of in a lot of ways secretly being like, but you know, girls can watch too, right? And that's most evident in the show that I have found, and that is Star versus the Forces of Evil.
Here's the thing. I did not know you were going for Star. I honestly thought you might hit Gravity Falls because of the inclusiveness.
We could talk about Gravity Falls in a second, because that was the middle ground for me. But anybody that knows Gravity Falls, it's ended. So that was honestly the reason why I was looking for something else. Right? Over the Garden Wall led me to Gravity Falls. Gravity Falls has led me to Star. But sorry, keep going.
No, Star is fantastic. My sister loves Star, and I have not gotten to go on the deep dive that I really want to. My semester, I work on a college campus too, not teaching the way that Siege does. It comes to a close, so like it's about to be a ghost town for me, and that is when I watch through all of Gravity Falls, and I fully intend to actually sit down and watch through all of the Star versus the Forces of Evil, because there's clearly a lore. Like, here's the worst part is the marketing for Star is a reveal from like the second to last episode of this past season. Yeah. That she's in love with Marco. That's not a spoiler. It is a spoiler, but it's not because every single commercial is Star loves Marco. And
it's really not a spoiler in the sense that, so one of the things about Star versus Gravity Falls. So first off, I have to start from the place of saying that Gravity Falls might be one of the greatest television shows that I've ever watched in my life. There's only 2 seasons of it, and the last 3 episodes are technically a movie. And it is a fantastic little story and package, and like everything about it is almost perfect. Like I can't even think of a criticism at the moment. Like everything about it is just exactly what I
The only
want from a
criticism
show
I
like
have
that.
is that you referred to it as almost perfect
I
because I
can't.
think it is perfection.
Yeah, so Gravity Falls is this perfect little package, but the thing is it's over, right? So Over the Garden Wall is what led me to Gravity Falls, and then Gravity Falls was phenomenal, but now I don't have that in my life anymore either, right? So the thing about Star versus Gravity Falls is that Gravity Falls was maybe 40% episodic, 60% like episode to episode like storyline, right? Like you needed to make sure that you were paying attention because things were going to be important later on.
Yes.
The balance on Star is the opposite of that. I would say that 40% of the time you should really pay attention because things might be important later, whereas 60% of the time things are just episode specific. So like there's less, at least in season one, I will say, because that's where I'm at right now. Is I've just finished season one and I'm about 3 episodes into season two. Season one is very much more just goofy, like here's the world as it exists, here's some rules, but other than that, you don't really need much more from this episode. So like I'm waiting for it to get kind of really deep into the lore stuff, and it has enough to hook me. So like it's got this weird shift to it versus Gravity Falls, whereas I don't feel like I need to be paying attention every second like I did with Gravity Falls.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So like I look forward to you watching it, man, because there's this attitude about it that I really love, and again I have to give credit to to my friend Hannah for this one because she's the one that really kind of nailed this. But it feels like it's a show that's very much created to be a quote unquote boy show, right? Like the toys for it are all going to be boy toys. They're going to end up in the blue aisle versus the pink aisle. But what they did with this show is they then made the main character to it a female character that really loves like ponies and rainbows. And so like when she attacks things, she attacks with like rainbow butterflies. She attacks with like unicorns. Like that's how she, so she does all of this crazy like action fighting that a quote unquote boy show would want, but then what they do is they give it a very feminine swing in the way that she does that. And so there's this really cool like move where the whole show is bright colors and pinks and blues and all this stuff, but everything that she's doing is fighting monsters and defending the kingdom. So it's like it's really fun to watch and it's really cool. It's just like this great little heartwarming show to watch. And so I'm really excited for you to check that out because like it's created a universe that is very bubbly and poppy, right? But then when it gets to the lore, there's some dark stuff that goes on. And I recommend to anybody to watch the first episode just so you kind of get what's going on. And then if you really are only trying to figure out what the show is all about, skip to the episode that's titled Mew Dependence Day. And it's all about her original kingdom, Muni, and their Independence Day. And she realizes some rather dark things about how history is only written by the winners. And like it gives this really dark, deep understanding of like, oh, what the show could possibly be. So if you watch those 2 episodes in a row, which honestly I think that episode is like episode 11 in the first season, or like it's really deep into the first season, but those 2 episodes will give you a really good idea of what the show is aesthetically and what the show is capable of story wise. And it would be like, and you'll get a really good idea of what that show is going to be eventually. It's a slow burn in terms of the whole like getting a really good hook. And so how this relates to like the Stephen King stuff is there is this really dark edge to this whole thing, right? There's this really cool underground story to this thing that they're kind of telling right now. And I don't know if it's a matter of the fact that they don't want to get too deep into the lore just as a concept, or if they don't want to yet until they've hooked enough people. But it's not deep. It's not deep in the sense that you need to pay attention every second, but it's there. So just keep your eyes open. That's what I'll say.
And here I am sitting as the guy who's only seen episodes with Marco's karate teacher.
Those are good episodes.
Who is fantastic. He's a great character.
Yeah. But those would be a really good example of like the filler episodes on Gravity Falls. That is like actually pretty much the norm for this show. What you would consider to be a fluff piece in anything else is pretty much the norm for Star, which is kind of nice because on a regular basis, I can watch 3 episodes and not have to worry about getting emotionally invested. But if I want to, I can actually dig into this stuff. I can get online and talk to a bunch of people about like concepts and theories and things like that. But also at the same time, I can just sit back and watch rainbows and puppies. So it's a really good balance for me right now, and I'm super excited.
Way to cite the theme song in a very slant way.
Yeah, yeah.
That was good. I'm real proud of you.
It gets a little weird, but it also gets a little wild, so I'm cool.
You fucking asshole. Top hat spider for the win.
Oh god, there he goes.
Oh, there we go. Whoo.
But yeah, that's what I've been doing, man. I
Cool.
mean, also I've been celebrating my Brendan Fraser month. I've been poking around. I actually, funny enough, restarted Scrubs because of him, but of course because he doesn't come into like what season 4 or 5.
Season 3, he shows
Yeah,
up for the first
I won't.
time.
Yeah, so I won't see him for a bit, but it's got me back into Scrubs, which I'm excited about.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch my usual Looney Tunes back in action watch
it's on
because
Netflix. It's on Netflix. I was so excited to see that it's on Netflix.
it's one of those movies that like don't go in expecting a sequel to Space Jam. Like I think that might be its biggest problem. Was a lot of people just went in just being like, I love Space Jam, let me watch Looney Tunes back in action. They are not the same movie. Like Space Jam is an entity unto itself, but like back in action is actually for a kids movie a good fucking time, especially for a nerd. There's so many good references.
Dude,
I mean, at
that's all
some
I was
point they
gonna
fight a
go to.
Dalek.
Dude, they fight a Triffid from the
Yeah.
Day of the Triffids, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
who is this movie for? Who is this film for?
Me. The movie is for me, Devon.
Can I tell you the best part about Looney Tunes Back in Action? So it's Brendan Fraser History Month, so my family's been talking Brendan Fraser. We did a little bit of Last Man Stanton today, like naming Brendan Fraser movies, which was a lot of fun. Like
Nice.
all day, a lot of fun. And then my mother's like, Space Jam, and I'm like, no, you're wrong. But he
Nice.
is in a film with the Looney Tunes, and Dale goes, back in action. He said, back in action. And it's just like, yeah. But like even though it's not a sequel to Space Jam, those two films, because they both feature the Looney Tunes, have this unfortunate, inextricable linkage in the minds
Yeah.
of America.
Right. And it's the idea that it's the Looney Tunes in the real world that really kind of is what links the two of them together. And that's unfortunate because I think that concept actually works really well. So like if and when they ever make another Looney Tunes movie, I kind of don't want them to get away from that aspect, the Roger Rabbit esqueness of it, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's
I
what
don't
really
think
makes
two
those
movies-
films work. 100%.
The only thing that connects those two films is that it's the Looney Tunes in the real world. Other than that, there's nothing story wise. There's no references. There's nothing that
Can
connects.
I
those
tell
two
you
films.
why my mother connects them? 100%. I have no proof of this, but if I had to go off of pure conjecture,
He thinks that Brendan Fraser and Michael Jordan are the same person.
because of the scene in Bedazzled where he wishes to be a basketball player.
Brought that back around to Bedazzled.
Yeah.
Man.
And then my dad's like, oh, yeah, and he's got a small penis, even though he's a big basketball
That's
player.
fucking stupidest joke. Oh, my
Oh,
God.
God.
I have to say, by the way, original Bedazzled is actually like a pretty good like British 60s
Oh, dude,
comedy.
it's great.
Like sex romp.
And it's
Like
super crazy that they remade it, but like also the way that they shifted it, like the 30-year shift to the two movies makes them distinct in a way that like always blew my mind.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh man, Brendan Fraser though. But yeah, that's been the big thing that I've been up to lately. Is I've been kind of getting some digging deep into Star and celebrating our month. But besides your road tripping, has there been anything much else that you've been
I
doing?
wanted to bring up the movie Free Fire because it was the last film that I saw, and I feel like no one saw it. I don't even know if it's even in theaters anymore.
Okay, well we can give a little. What is it? A
Um,
little indie film? We can
It's
give it a little
well,
push.
it's an A24 film. It's
Oh
got
fuck!
Brie
Well,
Larson,
Yeah.
Armie Hammer, Cillian
Anybody that-
Murphy.
Anybody that's not paying attention, A24. Like, what are some of the other things that they've done lately?
Gosh, A24. I don't know. I don't know if they did Room. All I can think. I can't think of a
The big thing
single
that they did last
A24
year-
movie right now.
The big thing that they did actually earlier this year, it might have been, was The Witch. Was that last year or was it this year?
The Witch was last year.
Yeah, so The Witch, which is this phenomenal little hit, horror movie about a
We're gonna have to talk about The Witch next week.
yeah, A24 does a lot of really good things like that, and they don't only do horror movies, but this is just going to be the two that I bring up because they're just two of the best ones that they've done in a while. I mean, they do a ton of really good ones, but they also did Green Room, which was one of
Anton Yelchin.
Anton Yelchin, thank you, not Ashton Yelchin. Anton Yelchin's last films, which is him and Patrick Stewart in this great little horror thriller about a band that gets caught in this English pub.
English pub. They get caught in a neo-Nazi camp in the middle of the South.
It's the South, not in England.
Like it's
Sorry,
not.
it's because of Patrick Stewart. It's because of Patrick Stewart that I just assumed it was England. But no, it's the South. They get caught in a bar, and they're trying to get out. And Patrick Stewart plays one of the greatest villain roles of all time, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, he's
like
just so calm that
Yeah.
whole movie,
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
calm is what makes him so fucking scary.
Yeah, and Yelchin's real good in it for one of his last roles. Like, you guys should check it out. So A24 does these really good indie films, and they've been going for 3 or 4 years now. Just
I think
pumping
Short
out
Term 12 might have been one of their first ones.
they're just pumping out some phenomenal little movies.
Great, like they do, like they've done some really good stuff. Like the one that like always jumps to mind is Walrus. Walrus was A2. No, Tusk.
Okay.
Tusk is the name
Tusk,
of that movie.
Which is
Kevin
Kevin
Smith's,
Smith's little horror film with Justin
Long
Long. Yeah.
and Johnny Depp, right? Spoilers.
Well, yeah. So A24 is really big on picking up like these kind of really small, little, risky projects, shall we say?
Small, risky projects that probably have a built-in audience. I will say that they're smart about that. They're
smart enough to recognize that this has enough of an audience for them to probably survive, but they don't seem to be out to make like the next big Oscar winner. That doesn't seem to be their big push right now.
Right. And that's good. I think that's what the world needs. The world needs more film companies like that. And that is why Free Fire really it left me sort of sour in the mouth. I mean, Martin Scorsese was an executive producer on it, and it's this great cast. Like, I was very excited to see this film. And this is after seeing trailers that really told you nothing about the movie. Like, I knew nothing really going in.
What are you talking about?
What do you mean?
What would you classify it as?
It's an action film.
It's an action film.
It's an action film.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit dark comedy. The best part about this movie is Jack Rayner, a.k.a. the older brother from Sing Street, is in the film. And he is just... The second I saw him, I'm like, oh... So good. It's like this movie you got to see, but like I don't know, it only hit 19
Hey man,
in the
Say
box
Report
office when it came
is a
out.
huge Jack Rayner support group right here.
Oh,
we
we
talked
love
about him
Jack
on
Rayner.
episode 1, episode 2 at least.
Episode 1, Shante Street.
Yeah, man.
That's where we started. We love that guy, and
we talked about how good he was then too. Yeah,
he's great. He is going to be a star someday, and he was great in this film. And really, the best way to describe Firefight is Free Fire, not Firefight. Firefight, kind of a better movie, but it does invoke Boondock Saints a little bit. The way to describe Free Fire is, in a movie, you have a shootout. It might last 10 minutes, right? Like, it's all very compact, right? It's bang, done. This one sort of time lapses it, how it might happen in real life.
And correct me if I'm wrong, this is the one that is based on true reports of the incident, right?
I don't 100% know about that. There's no indication before the film or not. If you want to check that out.
Firefight. Hold on.
Yeah.
Honestly, I may be... All right, yeah.
Yeah, because those two movies exist, right?
Nope, Free Fire is the one that I'm thinking about. Free Fire is based on actual events, and it is partially written based on actual FBI accounts of what happened. And like, for anybody that doesn't know, they actually keep like timing on that stuff. So like at 4:04 this shot was fired, that sort of stuff. So a lot of what happens in the movie, and the reason why it is as drawn out as it is, because the last, like, what would you say, 60 minutes of the movie, is all one long firefight. It is actually
that's not how that. It's not a long firefight, unfortunately.
No,
like that's
what I'd like to be. So
that's what I was hoping for. Like that's like I knew going into it, eventually these two parties, they're gonna come to they're gonna draw their guns, and there's gonna be a shootout, right?
Okay.
And then like that's gonna be cool. So like the whole movie, I'm waiting for like that inciting incident to get them to draw their guns. And the thing is dropping all these beautiful breadcrumbs as to what could be the thing that turns this deal sour. And that's brilliant. And then once it turns sour, it is sort of slow. Like, it's a slow burn. Like, one shot is fired, and then some other shots are fired. Some people are hit. But then it's a lot of, like, talking and, like, it doesn't need to be this way. If you just come out, we can still work this out. And then there's, like, betrayal, and there's all this other stuff that happens. And I want to like this movie, but it is a tight 90, and it almost all happens in real time, but it felt like forever. Like, I saw Silence. Silence is almost 3 hours long. In a blink of an eye, it's over.
Yeah.
like Free Fire, I'm like, get to it, because like I don't know if it's because I knew it was gonna happen or just like nothing happened for so long. I don't know. It's like I would definitely recommend that people see it. If you can see it, go see it in the theater. But I mean, I don't know. Like A24, like you said, like they have like an eye for these sort of things, and it really just did not work for me.
Well, yeah, and like one of the things about A24 is not necessarily that every one of their movies is going to be like a huge success, but it's the idea that they're doing something that nobody else is doing. And I think that like I'm sorry it didn't work for you. Like that sucks, but at the same time, what other movie do you know like that, right? Like and I think that's more what they're going for. So did it at least succeed on that front? Like did it present something to you that you've never seen before?
Yeah,
Because
I
I
thought
think
it was
that's
a
what their
cool
goal is.
concept. Like
Yeah.
concept
Yeah.
wise, I'm like, this is awesome. It's cool to see this how it would happen in real life. If someone gets shot, that doesn't mean they die. That's not how
Okay.
it works in real life. If you get
Okay.
hit with a bullet, you're not immediately down and out.
Right.
Like you're gonna be bleeding a little bit. Maybe you're gonna try to get out of there. Maybe you're gonna try to get back at the guy who shot you. Like it was real, and that was cool. Like the time lapsing of it was very cool. Like
Yeah.
as an idea, but in
Right.
execution, it just didn't
Well, I
really
mean,
work for me.
and maybe what this does is it proves why we don't shoot filmed firefights that way, right? Like there's a reason we don't go as real as possible. So like this is a really cool experiment and I'm glad that there's people out there willing to do it, but like you're saying it doesn't necessarily make for a more interesting film. It's just, somebody had to try it once to kind of prove that, I guess is what I'm saying.
Exactly. And
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sitting there as a guy who's like expecting sort of shoot 'em up, and I know that
Mm,
there's also a problem with like, expectation versus reality, which is
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of the reason why I think that's the only thing that affects whether or not I like a movie. Like I try to go in with no expectations, but you see a movie called Free Fire, you see the people who are in the movie, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, I would love it if this were just like a nonstop firefight
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
like the little conversations that could happen. I wanted it to be more action driven, less dialogue driven, and it was the flip of that.
Mm. Um, quick little note, just as I looked up to make sure that this was Free Fire that we were talking about. I weirdly, it's mentioned in this article from Forbes that is specifically talking about how, in the weekend that Free Fire came out, which was this weekend, right?
Was the last weekend.
Last weekend, Get Out actually added almost 600 screens and actually got a 3% rise on its money brought in. So the other small indie horror film that's out right now, Get Out, is actually making more money than it did in its first weekend.
I need to see Get Out still. Have you seen it?
Yeah, no, not yet. And
All right,
we
Sejohn,
really should.
can we take a blood
because-
pact right now in front of all of our listeners? In the next week, before our next episode, both of us are going to see Get Out. Do you
I
think
can
we
do
can
that.
make that happen?
I can do that. Jordan Peele film, like I want to support it, and I'm not promising that I'm going to love it, but I think I need to check it out for sure. So yes, we could totally do that.
I fucking love Bradley Whitford, and what has
Mm.
kept me from seeing Get Out is just how much of a disappointment Keanu was for me.
Really,
Yeah.
I actually really kind of enjoyed Keanu. I mean, like I remember Keanu being fun. I don't remember it necessarily being like mind-blowingly good, but I remember it being a hell of a good time while I watched it. But
Here's the thing: there are parts of Keanu that I quote all the time. The George Michael stuff in Keanu is hilarious.
yeah.
There's these moments in that movie that really stuck with me. But the problem is, at the end of the day, it just sort of felt like an extended episode of their sketch show.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like a
really
film.
good. Yeah, for me, it felt like a really good Key and Peele sketch, so I kind of didn't mind it the whole time. But I get it. What is this? Zach Braff has a new movie out? All right, we don't need to do
Going
this.
in style.
Okay.
That's
all
Zach
right.
Braff, Michael Caine, Alan Arkin, and Morgan Freeman.
Yeah,
Remake
all
of a 1960s film of the same name.
right. Oh, Zach Braff. He showed up on a Bill Nye show. Anyway, we don't need to do Zach Braff stuff. I have weird feelings about Zach Braff right now because I've been rewatching Scrubs.
I have weird feelings about Zach Braff ever since Garden State that were made even worse by This Is Where I Leave You.
So
I
I was
did
gonna
not
say,
like Garden State, but I loved This Is Where I Leave You.
This Is Where I Leave You was pretty good, but
love that movie.
The one that I actually really liked and couldn't believe I liked was Last Kiss.
I don't know that one. I've never seen it.
It's a super dramatic like movie about how he cheats on his soon-to-be wife, and I don't normally like those kinds of movies, but for some reason that one I very
Did
much
he
kind of
direct
actually.
that one too?
I don't know if what his hands were on that one. He's the main character for sure. I don't remember if he directed it, wrote it, both. I'm not quite sure.
I was talking specifically of his directorial efforts, which, as far as I know, is Garden State, This Is Where I Leave You, and Now Going in Style.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm in a weird place with Zach Braff right now because I'm watching Scrubs, which I love him in, but then I do have some problems with some of his movie choices after that.
Oh, Zach Braff. We could fill a
VX.
whole episode with Zach Braff, but it is Brendan Fraser History Month, so you will take a back seat, my friend.
Yeah.
Sejohn, anything to say to the listeners before we say goodbye?
Check out Looney Tunes Back in Action. Like, in all seriousness,
it's Brendan Fraser History Month. That is our Brendan Fraser movie of the week. It is Looney Tunes Back in Action. Yeah. It's on Netflix. Go, watch it, enjoy it. Maybe that's what we'll talk about next week, or maybe we'll talk about something else. Who knows, as long as it's related to Brendan Fraser.
He has a long and storied career.
And we're going to try to tap into it as best we can in these 4 short weeks coming. And then a year from now, we're going to tap back in. Because every May is Brendan Fraser History Month. And just a little bit of a cleanup on my part. Another big thank you to Zach over at Board with Friends. He recorded our intro last week for our special Coyote Ugly episode, which, if you are a YouTube watcher of this show or listener of this show, you might notice that it's not up there, but that's because it is an iTunes exclusive right now. So if you are wondering where can I listen to the Coyote Ugly episode, find it on iTunes or find it on our Podomatic page, because that's where you're going to get it. We're going to keep it off YouTube. I don't know, maybe forever, maybe it'll be a timed exclusive. We'll see where the chips lay. Right, Siege?
Yeah, man. And I love the idea of somebody watching us on YouTube because it means they're literally staring at our title card for
which
an hour.
Which you made, right? So I'm sure that just makes you feel all the warm and fuzzy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just stare at it for just an hour while you listen to our voices in your ears.
Also, I mean, I'm out there. I'm doing stuff. I was on Gamer Assault Weekly. They're a streaming service. They do a lot of good news stuff. They had me on their Friday night stream of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So if you go back to that stuff on twitch.tv/GamerAssaultWeekly, you can watch that from last Friday. Or the person I did that with is a friend of the show, Mark Daniels. How you doing, Mark? He's the one who got me on that. With him, you can find it on his YouTube channel at Slippery Fish. Big thank you to Mark for letting me do that. And I got to tell you to watch this because I sing the Cheers theme song about halfway through the stream, and it is friggin' a good time.
Excellent.
And that's it. So last thing, Zach recorded far more than we needed intros to that Coyote Ugly. So as a added bonus treat, each week you're going to hear a blooper or another take of that wonderful introduction that he did for Coyote Ugly. So you have that to look forward to too. That'll be after Will gives you all the rigmarole that he usually gives you. We'll give you a little bit of Zach Attack. So I think that's it from me. I'm Devon Decker.
And I'm Sejohn Sarowick, and you can catch him on Twitter at Devon D. Decker.
Oh, and you can catch Sejohn on Twitter at Siege versus the World. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devon Decker and Sejohn Sarowick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.
Tonight, on a very special The Say Report, Coyote Ugly.
Sloop John B, Beach Boys.
We come on, Sloop John B, my grandfather and me. Around Nassau town we did roam, drinking all night. Got into a fight, well, I feel so broke up, I wanna go home.
So hoist up the John B sail and see how the mainsail sets.
Call for the captain ashore and let me go home.
Let me go home.
Oh,
I wanna go home.
Yeah.
I feel so broke up,
I wanna go home.
The first mate, he got drunk, broke into the captain's bunk. The
Constable had to come and take him away. Sheriff Johnstone, why don't you leave me alone? Yeah, yeah, I feel so broke up, I wanna go home. So hoist up the John B. sail, see how the mainsail sets. Call for the captain ashore and let me go home. Let me go home. Let me go home. Let me go. I wanna go home. Let me go home. Oh, let me go home. Why don't you let me go home? Let me go home. Hoist up the John B. sail. Hoist up the John B. sail. Hoist up the John B. sail. I feel so broke up. I wanna go home. Let me go home. The poor cook, he caught the fits and threw away all my grits. And then he took and ate up all of my corn. Let me go home. Why don't they let me go home? This is the worst trip I've ever been on. So hoist up the John B. sail and see how the mainsail sets. Call for the captain ashore and let me go home. Let me go home. Let me go home. Let me go home. I wanna go home. Let me go home. I feel so broke up. Why don't you let me go home?